Business trade lines can put you into business credit jail. Welcome to our live stream today. So this is something I get a ton of inquiries about. I mean, a lot of inquiries. Should you buy business trade lines? Should you not buy business trade lines? What should you know? So before we dive into this topic, I first want to address that I am specifically talking about business trade lines, not consumer trade lines. Hey, Teresa, welcome. Thanks for coming in. There's obviously a difference. A lot of people buy trade lines of some sort, or authorized users, or known as AU accounts for consumer credit. Basically, they get added to another person's account to add a high limit revolving credit account to their consumer credit reports. I'm not necessarily saying that I frown upon that at all. I'm not saying I have an opinion at all. I'm telling you from owning a credit repair company, Chris, welcome. Thanks for coming in. I've seen that work. I know it can be effective. And I give you this disclaimer in the beginning because whenever I put a video on YouTube about buying trade lines, there are some very passionate people that respond. And they don't usually respond with really nice comments. They're very opinionated. Jazzy, welcome. A2 Intel Soul, welcome. So I want to address that before I dive in. I'm talking about business credit trade lines. I'm talking about buying trade lines that go on your Dun & Bradstreet, your Equifax, and your Experian commercial credit report. If you are thinking about consumer credit trade lines, that's not what this is about. I'm not doing a stream right now on consumer trade lines, whether they're legitimate, whether they're not legitimate, whether they work or they don't work or how they work. I have no opinion on that for this actual scope. This scope is only about buying business trade lines to put on your DMV, Equifax, Experian credit report. So should you do this? Should you not? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at the whiteboard. And first of all, the basic here of what is a trade line. So first of all, what is a trade line? Well, a trade line is basically an account that reports on your business credit report. It's that simple. That's what an actual trade line is. If you get a credit card with Chase and you pay Chase on time or not, and they report on your credit report, they report as a trade line. That's what we refer to in financial services. So the reporting of the account on your credit report is a trade line. So when we talk about buying trade lines, should you do it, should you not do it, what they are, that's what a trade line ultimately is. So obviously, usually you get trade lines by going in, applying for credit, you get approved, and then boom, you start using it, and that trade line reports on your business credit reports, right? What are you talking about, bro? I'm telling you that right now, David. So trade lines, again, are the reporting of an account on your credit report. So if you have an account with Chase, if you have an account with Seton or Amazon or Sprint, the reporting of that account on your credit report is a trade line. So a lot of people go through the right process, which we'll talk about here. They find an account like Sprint they want, they go apply for the Sprint account, they get approved, they use Sprint, it reports on their credit report. That's a legitimate way to obtain a trade line. Well, there's this other fraction of people that want to buy trade lines instead of legitimately go and apply for real credit. So that being said, what happens with trade lines is that a lot of people want to go in and buy somebody else's trade line. So instead of you getting approved for Chase and adding that to your business credit report, a lot of people will actually go into Chase and will go to somebody else that already got approved with Chase. They then pay that person to add them to the Chase account so that Chase account then reports on their business credit reports. So when we talk about buying trade lines, that's exactly what we're talking about. And again, my disclaimer, for this scope, I'm only talking about buying trade lines that report on your business credit report, not your actual consumer credit report, okay? So, by the way, Seton no longer reports. I know that. We've already addressed that in a previous scope. I even put that on our Facebook group, nor does Gimplers either. DMV don't report for financial institutions. They will not report accounts through their credit builder from banks, credit cards, or financial institutions. So let's go back here. So trade line, an account that reports on your business credit report, okay? So typically established through vendors, credit issuers, or lenders that extend credit. Again, really what a trade line is one of these accounts. It's usually through a vendor. It's usually through a credit issuer like Chase. It's usually a lender that actually gives you credit and puts that actually on your business credit report. Okay, so with buying trade lines, what happens is some sources charge you for trade lines. So you can basically show seasoning or higher limits. So let's talk about this. Why would somebody want to actually buy? A lot of people believe that seasoned trade lines have some sort of value. Well, in the consumer credit reporting world, that's very true because 15% of your credit score is made up of how long you've had credit for. And that has to do with the longest account you've had and the average length of all of the accounts that you've had. But business credit's different. Business credit scores are based on how you pay. So the longer you've had an account does not help your credit profile and it does not help your credit score. So the first thing I say to somebody when they say, well, look, I want to buy trade lines, the very first thing I say is, why? What do you want to accomplish? If you're even considering this, what is your end goal? If your end goal is to buy a seasoned trade line that has length in it, well, that doesn't even really make a difference. It doesn't affect your business credit reports. It doesn't affect your business credit scores. There's no benefits of actually adding a seasoned trade line to your credit report. But that's how a lot of these are promoted that you may buy from a company is, hey, these are seasoned, so there's benefit. Well, in real business credit reporting, there is no benefit for the seasoning of an account. What they care about is how you pay the bill, not how long you've had it. Season trade, drop your score when trades are removed. With consumer credit, anything that gets removed can drop your scores. Remember, guys, we're talking about business credit here, different than consumer credit. If you drop a season trade from your business credit account, well, what happens is your credit score is made up of your average of how you pay your bills. So if you have 3, 2, 1, 5 other accounts where your bills are paid, you could remove an account from your business credit report and it wouldn't impact your business credit scores at all. Remember, this is different than consumer credit. What you're referencing with consumer credit might be true, but that's absolutely not the case with business credit. There's a big difference between this when we talk about business or consumer. Basically, what happens with these is you're paying someone else to use their trade line and have it put on your credit reports, or which is also referred to as piggybacking. Now, piggybacking is basically using a credit-worthy borrower's accounts to improve credit of an unrelated third party, okay? And the theory here is that this helps your credit profile look more favorable because you're adding these trade lines on. We're not talking about consumer credit, we're talking about business credit. So what we've already established is that your trade lines that are seasoned make no difference to your score because your business credit scores are based on how you pay. It doesn't matter how long you've had the trade for, so buying a seasoned trade makes no difference. So the next thing is, okay, well maybe you want to buy somebody else's trade lines because you can't get your own. But there's a legitimate way to get your own trade lines without paying somebody for it. And it won't cost you any money to do. So instead of buying trade lines for thousands of dollars to have them added to your credit report, you can also go through this step and actually build your business credit the right way. You can go to companies like Quill and Uline. You can go to Granger. You can go to Strategic Network Solutions or get a Wells Fargo secure credit card. Hey, Mark, welcome. Thanks for coming in. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad to see you. Uline does report. Uline absolutely does report to Dun & Bradstreet. We verified these all the time. We verified Uline as recent, I think, as last week. So any of these companies I just mentioned will report credit on your business credit reports, and they'll give you credit even as a startup. So the question becomes, why do you want to buy a trade line? Well, maybe you want to buy it because of seasoning. Well, we've already determined that their seasoning doesn't matter for your credit profile and score. It might on the consumer world, but not in the business world. So maybe you want to buy it because you're having a hard time getting your own trades. Well, you shouldn't, because companies like Uline and Quill and Granger and Strategic Network Solutions, companies like Wells Fargo Secure Credit Card, they'll give you credit even as a startup, and most of them, except for Wells Fargo, with no credit check. So why buy something you can get for free without paying a dime? And that's what you have to look at when you buy trades. You can get credit with all these companies I mentioned legitimately, real credit, without having to buy somebody else's trade lines, without having to pay, without having to piggyback somebody else. You can get them even as a startup, and then that credit can be used to then start getting you into Staples, Home Depot, Lowe's, all those other type of options. So even if you're added as an authorized user to a legitimate account, the Bureau still frowns upon these. The Bureau does not like you buying these trade lines. Okay, what I've learned is really simple. Anytime you try to fool a lender, credit issuer, or business reporting agency, you're usually going to fail. Now, somebody's saying, I did get 30 for net with Uline and never got reported, gave them my duns. See how much you've actually spent. In a lot of cases, like Quill, for example, won't report it unless you actually have spent $50 or more. The other thing to keep in mind, won't even populate unless you have 3 accounts reporting. So, I see this all the time. People say, well, I got an account with Uline and it didn't report. It probably did. But Uline or Dun & Bradstreet will not populate a credit report for you unless you have 3 accounts reporting. So they probably reported to DMB, but it doesn't show yet because you don't have a total of 3 accounts reporting. There's a lot of other factors. Uline does report. So if you've given them the 30 to 90 days it'll take for them to report, if you bought $50 of stuff or more, not to say that's the requirement. I always use that exact underwritten rule to do. And the third thing is, do you have 3 accounts reporting? Any of those that the answer is no can cause you from having an issue. So back to the topic of buying trades. So first of all, it won't help your seasoning because seasoning doesn't matter on a commercial credit report. Secondly, you don't need to buy trades when you can get them on your own. Thirdly, it's frowned upon by the reporting agencies. Think about what buying trade lines is, honestly. What you're ultimately doing is you're piggybacking and taking access to somebody else's established trades and getting yourself added to try to, let's be honest, fool the credit bureaus, credit issuers, and lenders to make them believe that you have better credit than you really have because you're basically hijacking somebody else's credit. That's what you're doing when you're trying to buy business trade lines. I have Credit Builder with B and DMB, but 100% agree with what you're saying, yes. So again, that's what happens when you're buying trade lines, right? Is you're legitimately just going over here to somebody else saying, you have trades, I don't. Let me get put on your trades as an authorized user or piggyback on the ones you've established. Then it makes it look like I have more established credit. Then that makes it easier for me to get legitimate credit. Well, if you're doing this, first of all, in the business world, you're basically building a legitimate credit profile and score on top of a bogus one. If you try to start a business credit profile and score with bad trades, with trade lines you've purchased, and the reporting agencies find out, what they do is they just shut you down. This is not like consumer credit reporting. Okay, when it comes to, and that's the same as a cosigner, it is if you actually went and applied for the loan in the beginning. That's what a cosigner is. A cosigner is when you and I go and apply for the credit together and they look at both of our information to actually add the account or to approve the account. But when you're piggybacking, it's not a cosigner. It's completely different. You're using somebody else to get approved for the credit, and then you're coming in and getting added to their credit, trying to make it out to be like that's actually your account. Now listen, if it's a business partner, if it's somebody like that's account, that's more than fine. You could do that. But if you're paying somebody just to use their trade lines to try to convince lenders and credit issuers and the bureaus that you have better credit than you are, that could easily be perceived as fraud. I'm not an attorney. Don't claim to be an attorney. But I'm just saying that think about it. If you're buying trade lines from somebody you don't know, and the only purpose of it, hey, welcome, is just to come in and make lenders, credit issuers, and lenders think you have better credit than you have, that can easily be perceived as fraud. That's what you're flirting with. Not an attorney, not claiming to be. But there's really no other way to look at it. So let's look, for example, of what Dun & Bradstreet says about this practice, and I'll give you a real example from a real customer that's pretty recent, from September 6th, that actually sees the results of what happens when you do this practice. So somebody asked, what's the Facebook group? It's Get Business Credit is the name of the Facebook group. I'm pretty sure if you type Get Business Credit in, or even Business Credit, it should be one of the first groups that pops up. So let's see what DMB has to say. What DMB has to say about buying trades. This is exactly from DMB. Quote, rather than try and build your business's credit by piggybacking on a seasoned trade line, it's less expensive and more effective for your business to work on building its own credit through proper credit management and growth. So you can see here, guys, that DMB, you should not do this. What you should do is build credit the legitimate way. Don't try to piggyback on top of somebody else's seasoned trade lines, okay? You do it through proper credit management and timely growth. So you can look that they frown down upon it. Now, what happens if they catch you doing this? I'll show you exactly what happens. And this is from a real customer, September 6th. Not a customer, but somebody that follows us on September 6th. We received this message regarding somebody that actually bought trades. How do I reinstate my Dun & Bradstreet credit profile? My company was recently flagged as high risk, and it completely made my profile blank. I lost all my payment experiences, which are trade lines, and they deleted my Paydex score. This is the result of what happens when you buy trades. Okay, let's look again. Exactly what I said will happen. They've come in, how do I reinstate it? They flagged my profile as high risk. They wiped out his credit profile. He lost all payment experiences and lost the credit score as well. The credit score is now shut down. Okay, how can I build the credit under my own? Here's legitimately from somebody what really happens when you buy trades. You see, this isn't the consumer credit world. In our world, in the commercial world, if the reporting agencies don't like something you're doing, like buying trades or shelf corporations, they just shut you down. They red flag you as high risk and they shut your profile down. It's done. It's over. So this person's question was simple. How do I reinstate my DMV credit profile? This is what happened. I bought trades. They shut me down. What do I do now? My response, start over. You're done. It's over. You're dead. Your credit profile is over. You now have to either start a new entity completely, basically, and start building business credit again. So the question is, do you want that to happen? Think of it like this. If you bought 2 trade lines to get yourself started, then you went out like this person did and got 5, 6, 7, 8 legitimate trade lines, would you be happy if a year later your credit profile was flagged, completely shut down, and all the legitimate trade lines you obtained were completely wiped out, like this person happened and it happens all the time? Probably not. This is why you don't want to buy trades, because what happened here was that somebody bought trades. They tried to fool credit issuers into thinking they had credit that they didn't have. They then used the fake credit to start getting real credit on top of it, and they thought they got away with it. DMV sniffed out what had happened sometime later, shut down their credit profile, wiped out their credit score, deleted every trade line they have, and their company credit is now completely dead. So now what they have to do is start a new entity and get a new credit profile and build it the legitimate way, because it's now wiped out because they built real credit on top of fake trade lines. So this is the risk that you face. In the commercial credit world, DMV, Equifax, and Experian will absolutely red flag and shut down your credit profile and score if they know you do this. Here's a real case from somebody where this really happened. And just so you know, I get these all the time. We get these comments on YouTube and Facebook and in our groups all the time of people that bought trade lines, thought they got away with it, bureau sniffed them out, gave them a red flag, shut down their credit profile, and now they have to start completely over. Not to mention that these people paid thousands of dollars for their fake trade lines. So now they're out thousands of dollars for their fake trades. They're out all the time they spent building legitimate credit on top of their fake credit, and now they're shut down and red flagged by the credit reporting agencies, which is not exactly where you want to be. Okay, so what are trade lines? Trade lines is simply the reporting of an account to a business credit reporting agency. If you have a Chase credit card, you get approved, you pay the bill, you add it to your account, that's what a trade line is. What we're talking about for this discussion is buying a trade line from somebody else you don't know, getting yourself added to their account, making it look like you have trade lines you legitimately don't have. Guys, let me give you a piece of advice. You are not smarter than Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, Bank of America, Chase. You're not. You're just not. So if you think that somehow they don't know what you're doing, you're wrong. They do know what you're doing. They have safeguards in place to make sure that buying trade lines, it doesn't happen, that it's not permitted to happen. So this is why I say if you're doing something that regulators, that the credit bureaus, that credit issuers, and lenders all frown down upon and say not to do, don't do it. Because if you do it, what happens is they will know what you were doing. They will sniff out what you were doing, and I promise you there will oftentimes be repercussions. In this case, buying trade lines, if they find out, which they often do, as you just saw in this example, oftentimes results in your credit profile getting red flagged, shut down, all your information's wiped out, and you have to start a new entity and start building business credit the right way. And let's take a look at people that just got here. This is from somebody that bought trade lines to build their business credit report. How do I reinstate my DMV credit profile? My company was recently flagged as high risk because they bought trades, and it completely made my profile blank. I lost all my payment experiences, and then they deleted my 80 panic score. So how do you do it the legitimate way? Well, the legitimate way is to get real credit. Uline, Quill, Gimpler's no longer reports, Granger, Wells Fargo secured credit card. They will approve you as a startup. They will approve you if you have no credit reporting. When you give them about 30 to 90 days to report and you have 5 total accounts, then you move right in to start getting credit at almost every major retailer. IKEA, Home Depot, Staples, Office Depot, every kind of gas card, Sam's Club, Costco, Amazon, Walmart. Once you have 10 total accounts, then you can get fleet credit cards for fuel repairs, maintenance. You can get Visa cards and MasterCards, or what is called cash credit. You can even get auto vehicle financing without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check if you do it the legitimate way. If you don't do it the legitimate way, you could easily end up in what I call business credit jail, because they red flag and shut down your credit profile. Because again, anytime you try to fool a lender, credit issuer, or business reporting agency, you're usually going to fail. Because if reporting agencies know you purchase trades, they red flag and shut down your business profile, even if you have lots and lots of other legitimate accounts on your actual credit report. There's no real benefit to buy trades. Why the heck would you buy trades? Why would you spend thousands of dollars to buy trades? You could, as somebody mentioned, pay $1,500 to DMV if you want to, and they'll actually take accounts you already have that are legitimate ask into your credit profile. Pay us thousands of dollars and we'll help you build business credit the legitimate way. Or do it on your own for free, getting vendor credit first, store credit first, second, cash credit and fleet credit thereafter, doing it the legitimate way where you don't ever have to worry about building real credit on fake credit. If you do get buy trade lines, then the risk that you face is DMV, Equifax, and Experian red flagging, shutting down your credit profile, wiping it out, wiping out your credit scores. And if that happens, hello, welcome. If that happens, you're done. You can never build another credit profile with that reporting agency. You have to start a new entity and start building business credit there for all over. So if you have a legitimate company you've had for years, then you go buy trade lines. Now you're out thousands of bucks. Now you've added accounts that aren't really yours to your credit report. Now you start to go about the right steps to build legitimate credit. Then years later you get shut down. You've lost all that work and you have to start the business all over to build business credit. Is it worth the risk? What do you stand to gain? Not much, considering there's so many legitimate ways you could build business credit the right way. So that's it for me. This is going to be a short scope today. I just wanted to address this because a lot of people ask me, should I buy trade lines to start my business credit profile? And my answer is always the same. Why would you? What benefit is there? Well, seasoning. I want to get added to somebody that has longer seasoning. That doesn't matter for your business credit scores. Payment history does. Seasoning doesn't matter. Well, I'm not able to get approved on my own. Well, yes, you are. Uline, Quill, Granger, Monopolize Your Marketplace, Wells Fargo secured card. Most of those will approve you with no personal credit check or guarantee, no collateral or revenue requirements. Hey, thanks again. Welcome for coming. Some people say you must PG to get Visa, MasterCard, and bank credits. Is that true? It's not true as long as you have enough trade lines reporting. But it's not easy to find those sources that will give it to you without a PG. They come and go. BJ's is a perfect example. Home Depot commercial card, perfect example. They come and go. Okay, and I appreciate you coming on. So sometimes they will report and give you credit without a PG. The next month, they're gone, they don't. The next month, they come. So getting cash credit without a PG is not easy. You need 10 to 15 trades to start. And even then, there's not a lot of these sources that do report. They come and go, but you absolutely can do it. Remember, a personal guarantee is needed when your business can't stand on its own. Once your business has enough established credit to stand on its own, you don't need a personal guarantee anyways. And for those of you that think you have bad personal credit so you can't get business credit, it's not the case. When you get a Uline, a Quill, a Monopolize Your Marketplace, a Wells Fargo secure credit card, when you get these vendors, you buy stuff, you pay the bill as agreed, they report to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. Once they report and you have 5 total accounts reporting, you have a credit profile and score established enough to start getting Amazon, Walmart, Dell and Apple, Office Depot and Staples, BP, Chevron, Sunoco, Sam's Club, Costco, almost every major retailer. And then once you have 10, you get Visa cards, MasterCards, fleet credit cards, auto vehicle financing without a personal guarantee, doing it the legitimate way. If you do have good personal credit, then you can use a program called unsecured business financing to get cash credit cards to start your business credit profile. You can even use DMV's credit builder to build your credit with DMV to get yourself started. Any of those are legitimate ways to build business credit and much better than buying trade lines, much cheaper than buying trade lines, and you never have the risk of your credit profile and score shutting down like you do with buying trade lines. So do you have questions? We're more than happy happy to help you in any way we can. Our number's 877-600-2487, 877-600-2487. You can also get a free guide at creditsuite.com/Periscope. That's creditsuite.com/Periscope. You can also get get all of our previous Periscopes at creditsuite.com/scope. And that's creditsuite.com/scope. You're asking what service we provide. You can go right to our website, creditsuite.com. What we do is we help people build business credit the legitimate way and get all types of business loans and credit lines. I teach you how to do it on your own. It's just you're going to run into obstacles on your own. The process is a little longer. When you work with us, we just expedite the process. We like to say that we take what takes people usually years to build their business credit and just condense it down into months because we're helping you through the process hand in hand. Do you have questions? Let us know. 877-600-2487. Just know there's a lot of different ways you could build business credit the legitimate way, using vendor accounts, using DMV's credit builder, or even using unsecured credit you can get with a PG to jumpstart your initial credit profile. All legitimate ways to build business credit. None of them will cost you what it costs you to buy trade lines. None of them will give you the risk of having your credit profile red flagged and shut down, as just happened in the example I showed you today, and also will oftentimes happen for people that buy trades. So you have questions? Let us know. 877-600-2487. That's 877-600-2487. And people say, what are you certified in? Feel free to take a look. My name is Ty Crandall. You can find me online, find all my credentials. I've got the 2 best-selling books on credit on Amazon, amongst many, many other things. Just search my name. T.Y. is my first name. My last name is Crandall, C-R-A-N-D-A-L-L. And I think you'll see I have the credentials to actually talk to you today. Will the group have an updated list on starter vendor accounts? I just gave you about 5, and we don't actually keep a list because these change daily. So every time we populate a list, people kind of give us a hard time because the list expires, and then what it is no longer is. Liar. That's awesome. Okay, so please provide insight. Or are you just a troll? It looks like you're a troll. But if you have any actual basis for your inflammatory comments, please type it in. He's selling snake oil. That's hilarious. Okay, so back Silver Gorilla. I'm going to go ahead and block you just because you seem like an idiot. Okay, so you're gone. So where we go? We never finish a scope without a troll. So we were able to actually get rid of a troll today. So if you have any other questions, reach out to us. 877-600-2487. The Facebook group is called Get Business Credit. If you go to Facebook and probably type in business credit, it's the first group that'll pull up. You could type in Get GET Business Credit, and you'll also pull up our group as well. It's a free group. It's a free community for anybody looking to build business credit to be able to participate and do so. If you have any questions, reach out to us and let us know. 877-600-2487. And don't forget to grab your free guide, creditsuite.com/Periscope. Thank you for the valuable weekly information. I thank you very much. And in the weeks to come, we're going to be talking about more ways you can get business loans for your business. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day.